Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio, and today I'm going to go on a rant. So if you don't want to listen to my rant, now would be a good time to skip to the next podcast. So what is this rant about? Well, let me set up the story. So I go to this event, and I'm speaking at the event, and I'm speaker number, I'm going to say 7, okay? 7. And so I sit there and I listen to other speakers, right? And I think it's tough. As a speaker, we're more critical of other speakers because, we know the speaking game. We can tell from a distance who knows what they're talking about and who just read a book and started talking about it, if you know what I mean. And so speaker number 1 gets up there, and I'm making these phrases up because I don't want to identify the specific speakers. But one speaker talked about how we need to really be in touch with ourselves in order to be successful. And the person goes on for 30 minutes, maybe 40, about how we need to be in touch with ourselves. I mean, it's almost like, you really have to kind of just go quiet in the mind. You really need to talk to yourself. You really need to ask your inner child questions about who you really are. Now, at this point, if you feel like throwing up, I understand, because I was there too. Now, I don't mind hearing this stuff. Give it to me for about 2 or 3 minutes, then I'm good, okay? The next speaker gets up there, and that topic was about inspire, right? Inspire. And then they proceed to break down the word inspire as an acronym. The I stands for the I in you. The N stands for necessity. The necessities of life. You get the idea. S stands for this, P stands for this, blah, blah, blah. 40 minutes later, again, the gag reflex is kicking in. And the next one is, you have to believe. One of the things you have to do is believe in yourself. Believe. And again, 30, 40 minutes of this. 6 speakers before me kept doing this over and over and over again. And I'm sitting there trying to really listen to these speakers. I mean, really listen. Trying to, harvest a small nugget. Now, I look at everything. When I watch a speaker, I listen to what they say, but I also look at their movement on stage, how they move. Actually, I learn from watching people move. In other words, are there certain gestures that they're using? Are there certain movements on stage that really make the story more compelling? So I not only listen to what they're saying, I always also watch how their body moves. The other thing I look for is how they say something, the intonation. Do they pause? Do they drop their voice when they make a point? Different things that they use. And I look for all these things. So I really try to enjoy a speaker. But I was so distracted by what I call the pedantic, mundane information that they were handing out that I just couldn't focus. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder how the audience feels. Now, let me fast forward. I surveyed 2 or 3 people after the event. And I said, just kind of give me an idea of what you thought of these speeches. And after, a couple of minutes of being polite, I said, no, give me the real deal. I'm asking you a hard question. And I remember one lady said to me, Victor, they were all great speakers, but they were telling us things we already knew. Bingo. They were telling us things we already knew. But not only were they telling you things you already knew, they were doing it for 40 minutes. And that's the problem, that if you're a speaker or even a presenter or even a salesperson, if you're saying things that the customer already knows, you're not grabbing their attention. If you're a speaker saying something your audience already knows and heard it, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, then you're not impacting anybody. And what I noticed about all these 6 speakers, there was all what I call strategic information, not tactical information. By strategic, I mean it was up in the ether somewhere, right? Very airy, unicorn, rainbow, pixie dust type of statements. But then I asked myself, maybe they'll give you strategies. Maybe they're going to give us strategies on how to do that, how to be inspired all the time. What strategies? What can I do every day to be more inspired? If I need to believe in myself, give me some strategies because maybe I'm suffering from low self-esteem. How can I do that? If I need to get in touch with myself, well, tell me how I need to do that and what's the reason behind it. Give me the big why, right? But they weren't doing that. They were just telling you what you should be doing, what you should be thinking. And everybody in the audience, I bet, including myself, I said, I got it. Now show me how. Show me how I'm going to do that. Show me what I need to do on a daily basis to achieve that. Give me a strategy, a tactic, maybe a way of doing things that I've never heard that would maybe go, oh, I've never tried that. Look, we all have a hard time sometimes getting motivated. Yes, present company included. And, I always tell myself, well, how do I get myself out of a funk? How do I get myself, to move forward and do things differently? For example, I do a lot of walking. I love to walk. I love to put one song on a loop and walk and listen to that one song. Now, the reason I do this is because I've realized that if I listen to different songs on my 40-minute walk, every time a new song came on, it would disrupt my thinking. So if I was almost like in a meditative state thinking about something, when the next song came up, it was almost like somebody just bumped the record player, and all of a sudden a new song comes on, and it's like a pattern interrupt. It's like my brain is interrupted, and I'm taken out of my conscious flow of thinking creatively. What I've learned is that if I take one song and I loop it, for example, and for some reason after the second or third time, I don't hear the song anymore. I know it's there. I'm enjoying it. But my thought patterns are not interrupted because it's the same song. Now, that's a very simple example of maybe something you've never heard. As you're listening to this, you may be thinking, well, that's original. I never thought about that. That's an interesting strategy. See, that's what I'm looking for. When I'm listening to speakers or trainers or even a salesperson, I'm looking for something. Give me a nugget. I'll sit here for 40 minutes and listen to you, just to wait for that one nugget. Because if that one nugget is good, it could change, my daily routine. It could change who I am, how I think about things. But the problem was, with these speakers, it was just over and over and over again. I mean, it was like the Oprah Winfrey Show on rewind. I'm not being disparaging about Oprah Winfrey. I like Oprah Winfrey. But if you asked me to listen to her over and over again for 4 to 5 hours, I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? I'd have to take it in doses. Motivation, inspirational talk is great in doses, but not for 40 minutes. Not for 40 minutes straight of just fluffy, airy stuff that everybody's always heard. And I started thinking about this from a sales perspective. How often do salespeople get up in front of a customer and say the same damn thing that they've already said, that the customer already knows? They keep saying the same thing. Customer goes, I got it. I know that. Move on. Get to something interesting. For a whole hour goes by and the salesperson says nothing of value to the customer. And if you're doing that, then you need to cut it out. You need to stop doing that. You need to search deep and hard. You need to dig deeper and find real content that impacts the actual customer. If you're a speaker, dig deeper. What these people told me from the stage is that they don't read a lot. They don't have a wide understanding or a deep understanding of what their topic really is. Because when a real speaker gets up there, you can tell that they've really thought about it, they've studied it, they've read it, they've internalized it, they've twisted it, they contorted it, and now they've put it out there in such a way that you go, I never thought about that way. And that's the type of speaker I want to listen to. When I'm listening to a salesperson pitch me, I want to know that that salesperson not only understands their product, they understand the market, they understand the environment, they understand my business, they understand what I'm struggling with, they understand the pains I'm going through, and then they're able to take their product, their service, twist it, contort it, and spit it back at me in such a way that I go, I didn't look at it that way. You've just shifted my paradigm. I never knew that. I never even thought of that. That's the reaction I want to have. And if you're a salesperson today and you're not getting those wide-eyed looks like, never thought about that from your customer, maybe, just maybe, you're like those speakers. You're giving them stuff they already know and you're boring the hell out of them. You're not positioning yourself as a trusted advisor. You want the people to buy more from you? Guess what? Tell them something they don't already know. Give them information they don't have. Make them really think about your product or service and why you're different. And that is how you sell in today's market. Anyway, I apologize for my rant in advance, but that's it for this Sales Influence podcast. Anyway, don't forget to leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube. You know the deal. Let me know what you think. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, check out my sales training website, seminarsonselling.com, where you'll find great training videos for you or your team to help you grow your business. Lastly, I want to thank you for listening. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care. Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.